everyone, Rachel here, the Modern Shaman. Thanks for being with me for this week's YouTube video. If you are new to this channel or to my work at all, I'd love to introduce myself a little bit. I am a master shaman and metaphysical practitioner. I've been working in this paranormal field for well over 20 years, and I have done everything from missing person work, homicide work, government think tanks, land clearing, ceremonial work, shamanic energy healings, and seership, future probabilities, past life viewing, Akashic records, you name it, I do it. About 5 years ago, I started my own teaching curriculum, and now I have a master class that's available online, of course, for those of you guys that are interested in furthering your shamanic development as well as your psychic development and learning all that there is to know about the non-physical realm, integrating that and truly stepping into your psychic gifts. I also have a psychic and energy working spiritual entrepreneurship program. So for those of you guys who want to take your gifts and really share that with the world in terms of taking it on as a career, I also have a curriculum I developed throughout the many years of doing this. I have a master's degree in education, so I kind of blended those two worlds into teaching and the spiritual community. So if any of that interests you and you're seeking further development for all that you're remembering as your gifts and who you are as a soul, I'd love to motivate you and encourage you on your path. And all of those resources are on my website. I always just kind of guide everyone and direct everyone to my website, which is themodernshaman.net. If you haven't been there in a while or you've never been there because you're completely new, it's a great resource, like I said, just for everything that I offer and to kind of find what you feel like your soul is calling you towards. I also offer this kind of free content on here on YouTube. So if you have questions that you would like answered in this kind of large format that everyone may take information from or benefit from, I encourage you to go to my website, go to the contact form, fill it out, and put in your question, just specifying that it's for YouTube. And then I'll answer them on here. So without further ado, here comes today's question. Rachel, I have a question for your YouTube channel. I have been seeing snakes like crazy all around me in dreams, and then they come up also in real life. I sometimes almost step on them, and they are terrifying. Can you please do a video on snakes? I don't understand what this is all about. You have literally opened up a can of worms. This is a huge one. Or I could say a can of snakes. You remember those little cans that they used to make back in the day? It was like a little gag gift, and you'd get those cans and you'd shake them up, and then you open the top and the snakes would pop out and scare you. We as humans have had a long history with our little serpentine reptilians. So there's a lot of ways I can talk about this. I will first say that I'll talk about this in different ways that we are connected to snakes. To tune into or pay attention to your own resonance of what feels like you're like, that's what it's about for me. Because we each have our own triggers or emotional nodes of harmonic resonance. We call them a trigger. So, but it is an emotional node or nodule that we store within our junk DNA that essentially gets turned on. All right, we're talking about epigenetics here. So when there is latent genetic material and it is not necessarily active, but then it gets triggered and suddenly it becomes active in our life. And so we have a response there. So all that being said, those triggers oftentimes are our resonance to where we find what it is that's speaking to us, or our own genetic history stored in our DNA, our past life history, although we know that outside of this earth, there is no linear time like we know it. And so all of these past lives are actually concurrent experiences, but we have access to them through our DNA and these emotional triggers. And they serve as literal like portals that we can take to our past life memory or concurrent life memories, abilities and activities and so forth. So all that being said, pay attention to what seems to trigger you or that you resonate with. That's simply put. Okay, snakes. I will say from a shamanic perspective, snakes and spiders have been used in ceremonial practices of rites of passage to becoming a shaman. So if you've ever felt called to the shamanic path, which this is an ancient path, even our current history that we know involves shamanic rites of passage. And these oftentimes had a experience in the underworld or where you had to kind of face your fears, okay? And most of the time this involves spiders and snakes. And they were representative of the kind of transformation or the shedding of the ego, where if you could face your fears, if you could go beyond and become one with the animal kingdom, with all that represents. I'm getting into spiders too, but the web of life. So this is that cosmic web. There's a lot of representations there. And then the snakes were the shedding of the ego, or that exterior skin, that humanity that we wear, that we think from our mental mind, that we think separates us, right? That we are separate from, until we realize that we have that molting or that shedding of the fears, and we transcend. And so it's long been practiced as a ceremonial transfiguration of letting go of the fears and stepping into your true path, your true soul. You're letting your heart come out and stop from being hidden behind your skin. So this is a iconic symbol of transformation. If we go beyond just the shamanic icons and iconography, then we move into like Greek mythology, Roman mythology. So Greek had Hermes, and this was the staff of Hermes, the caduceus, right? Which we use in the medical field, or we see it in the medical field. It has that staff with the wings on the top, like Isis wings, and then it has the two serpents that are intertwined all the way up the staff, the masculine and the feminine, the white and the dark, good versus evil. So we have our polarity, that if we can utilize this energy, it would move up. It's also representative of the energetic body, and there's way more with that. But essentially the Kundalini energy is also representative of the Kundalini energy, starting at the root and being a sign of ascension through a Kundalini awakening, through a spiritual awakening, and the use of balancing your masculine and your feminine aspects, your good and your evil, your shadow and your light, and bringing those into harmony so that you may truly ascend and take flight and have a sense of liberation, transformation. That's the symbol of the wings at the top of the caduceus. That also in Roman mythology was connected with Mercury, the god which is the messenger of the gods. So this comes through a connection to channeling and having access to communicate with higher realms once we have brought into alignment our masculine serpentine energy and our feminine serpentine energy. Again, that Kundalini activation. So it's been around in a lot of ways. It's also associated with our reptilian DNA. So if you have had past lives, concurrent lives, incarnations in other planets, or interactions with reptilian energy, or have it stored within your DNA. Sometimes the fact that you're saying that it makes you fearful, this may be past. Again, I'm using past, but you know that I mean like concurrent or accessible memory stored within your emotional nodules in your DNA. And if you're unfamiliar with that term, epigenetics, look that up after this video, but essentially it's the study now of how to turn on latent DNA that is present in our genetic material but not active. So these emotional nodules can turn on the latent DNA, and this becomes kind of like a portal to past life memory. And like I said, the stored information that's accessible in our own genetic makeup. So if you have had past lives or lives on other planetary spheres where you have fought in galactic wars, all of these things that sound so sci-fi, but in essence, our spirit sometimes really, really recognizes as true. If this is you, you may have had experiences with reptilians. You may have been on a planet that was in war with reptilian energy. You may have been reptilian yourself. You may have some of that in your DNA. But the fact that it initiates a response of fear, I would pay attention to that, because there may be a sense of warning to look out for that reptilian energy in your life, to look out for that reptilian energy around you. And it doesn't necessarily mean all evil. It just has that kind of, when we think of the reptilian mind, this is our fight or flight, our very primal kind of response within the nervous system of our human form. It's mostly stored in the nervous system of our human form and our hormonal response within our human form. And so the chemical makeup of our body that kind of hits the adrenaline, the cortisol, or our nervous system, therefore, to let us know that something's wrong, something's not right. And oftentimes these symbols, if they feel like they are emotional triggers for you in that way, are kind of reminding you to be aware in your current life or in your surroundings. If it seems to open up this well of dreams chakra, which is part of our higher level chakra system, that is the polaric balance of our throat chakra. It's the backside of your throat chakra. If you notice that you're getting headaches there, this is the bottom of the neck, this medulla oblongata, like down here. And a lot of times people that are going through process of ascension will have that highly activated and will have blockages there. It'll feel like a bottleneck. It'll be sore. You'll feel like you get headaches back there, tension back there. And that is when your past lives are trying to come forward, but they may need some emotional release, some trauma release, some ceremonial release, shamanic release. So I would encourage you, if that is you, to go through a sense of healing there. There's lots of energy modalities for healing, for draining that energy back into the earth, and for releasing any trauma blockage in the body. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say about snakes. I mean, there's books and books and books about the iconography of snakes, but I think I'm hitting my 15-minute mark here with this video, and YouTube always sends me these weekly kind of information reports on my channel, and they'll constantly remind me that people don't watch 15-minute videos. There's like a 5-minute, our attention span is getting like shorter and shorter as humans. So I'm gonna cut it here, but I hope that something that I said will have triggered an awareness within you to sit and meditate on and integrate within your own form and energy body. I am sending you blessings to all of you guys that are watching this, and I would encourage you to come back here next week for another video. See you soon.